Welcome to our final part of the study for today. I'm going to give you guys some reminders of things that you absolutely must know before your exam, just top of the wave things that I want to make sure you do not forget, okay? Now, for your exam, you do know that you are going to be tested on the project charter all the way to the final report. So as you study, you need to have a clear idea of what you are reading and where it falls in this meter between the charter and the final report. Whatever process you are in, you need to ask yourself, where do you appear? Are you here? Are you here? Where are you? And how does what I'm doing connect to the charter? Now, some overarching advice for you is the project charter connects to everything else in some way. And one of the ways that the project charter connects is it is an input to every knowledge areas planning, every knowledge area planning process. In other words, if you look at everything from scope on down, you see your project charter going into those processes, whether it is plan scope management, plan schedule management, plan cost management, you see the project charter going in there. And then all of those subsidiary plans become an input to the develop project management plan process. All of those subsidiary plans, okay, they all go into develop project management plan. And then you have your project management plan. I just call PMP. And then the PMP goes to every one of the 49 processes, except two, all but two processes. In other words, 47. It's going to 47 processes. And the processes that it does not go to are develop project charter and develop project management plan. But everything else uses the project management plan. And that is how the project charter is connected to everything that happens in project management. You do know your charter is an input to develop project management plan. So all this stuff is linked. And as you study, what I want you to do is ask, how many degrees of separation is this process away from develop project charter? Or how does it link to everything else? Or how do two processes link to themselves? To reiterate what Ansia just said, if I were you, part 2 of the PMBOK guide, I would make this a regular fixture in my studying. There are two things that you can get from every process listed in part 2. The first is the description of the process, and the second is the key benefit. You need to know all of these. You know, it would say the key benefit of this process is blah, blah, blah. You need to know these very well. When you know your description and key benefit, like I said last week, you need to know your main output. Main output, okay? What am I getting out? If you do not know your main output, how are you going to know the tools and the techniques to use? How are you going to know those? How are you going to know your unique outputs or your unique tools and techniques? So we have unique outputs. These are outputs that only appear from one process or maybe a couple. You have your unique tools and techniques. These are the tools and techniques that are only used in one place, couple of places at most. I call them UTTs. And then you have your UIs. You only see these in one place or maybe two places. Let me give you an example. An example of a unique input is the business case or the benefits management plan. They don't appear everywhere else. They appear in some places. It's not extremely common. But beyond that, something else that appears in just a few places is agreements. That is another example of something unique. Agreements. Agreements are not in every process as an input. I think they're probably just 3 places, if that. These are the kinds of things you need to be thinking about, okay? So as you study this week, you want to think about your UIs, your UTTs, your UOs, okay? So an example of a UTT is product analysis. You do not see this everywhere. In fact, you only see this in defined scope, product analysis. An example of a unique output that only appears from one process are things like your project charter. That is a unique output. Things like your project scope statement, that is a unique output. It only comes from one place, okay? And as far as the UIs, I gave you an example of agreements. It's not in too many places. The business case, it appears in a few, but it is not as common as project documents or EEFs or OPAs. So anytime you see these unique inputs, you know, the benefits management plan, you know, even though it appears as a sub-bullet under business documents, pay close attention to those. It is going to help you in the grand scheme of the exam, okay? Now with that, Trevor asked a question about videos concerning risk. If you wanted to find those videos, you want to go to the YouTube page for Praizion. I'll give you an idea here. You go to YouTube and you type into YouTube Praizion risk. Someone's already done it because it just came up with that. So let me show you here, Praizion risk. And you can see we've got a video here, key project management, PMP, exam, instruments, risk management plan. We've got one here on the risk management plan versus risk responses, and many, many other videos. There's so many of them. See, so many videos. So I will just take this. I will take this and put it in chat, and you guys can have that. You guys can have that link as a reminder. Let me put it in everyone. There we go. You're welcome. But are there any questions that you want me to answer about specific things that you came into the meeting with? Any specific questions? I would like to answer those. Here's an example of the timetable we had. Our idea is that if you start studying, let's put in a date here. Let's put in a date. Let's say you start on 1/18. Let's say you're starting today. Let's do a reset. 2020, I beg your pardon, 2020. All right, so if you're starting today, there is no reason why you cannot finish powering up, studying all that you need to by the 24th. Absolutely no reason. Because if you're studying, going through a chapter pretty much a day like this, and remember, this is revision because you guys have already been through the program pretty much. But if you're going through like this, you know, you should be able to crack the code in a month, my friends. You see, we even have a CAPM exam built in for you to play with, and then we have the mini mock Bill talked about, practice drawing out. This is page 25 from memory. So maybe what I should do is just go ahead and share this. I'll go ahead and share it right now. Very good. I'm glad you have yours. And for those that don't know where theirs is, I am going to share. I'm going to share this one in the chat. And I'm hoping that it will just help you reset, because I know that you're studying, but you do need to make it, you know, an intentional, deliberate, methodical, if you will, type of thing. So let me make an update, and I'll share this with you right now. And this will just help you recalibrate, help you get your bearings. There we go. Oh, it's not letting me. Why isn't it letting me? It doesn't like XLX. So let me put it in a zip folder and I'll share it again. There you go. It's only 10 kilobytes. It's very small. So why don't you download that? Download that and recalibrate. I expect you guys to do this thing quick because you do know at the PMI, they're going to be changing stuff later on this year. And you do want to be in front of the pack before things get late and the exam centers get all crammed up. Mary says, how long does it usually take to get approval? Not more than 5 days. It's usually 5 days, Mary. So if you send it, let's say on Monday, you get approval by Friday, and then your 1 year starts and they tell you you've got 1 year to take the exam. So usually 5 days. And if you want me to take a look at any application or give advice, I'll be more than happy to do that. Okay. All right. Any questions before we call it a final day? Okay. Well, thank you all very much. I will stop the recording and I'll give you one more chance to ask questions if you have them. Thank you very much.